So welcome along. My guest today is a teacher, franchisee, DJ, cruise organizer, co-Swish host, cabaret winner, and all-round good guy. His Twitter blog says, "I'm Paul, and I love dancing, playing loads of sport, going on holiday, watching musicals, and basically not stopping to sit down." Today on Life on the Off the Stage even is all about finding more about the man that is Paul Brooks. Welcome along.
Yeah, what an intro, Richard. I love that. I didn't know what you were going to say then.
I know it's quite scary, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's a lot going on there.
There is a lot going on there. Yeah, I was looking back. So what I'm doing is I'm looking on Google, I'm typing in your name and finding out who Paul Brooks is. Now, there's also a police commissioner called Paul Brooks as well, but I guess that wasn't you.
No, I don't think that was me. No, far from it. I've never Googled my name, actually. I might try that after this.
Have you not? All the images that come up, it's quite
Have
scary.
you ever Googled your name?
No, maybe.
All right.
Yeah,
that's something I wonder how many people have actually done that.
Do you know what's quite scary? I was doing a family quiz the other day, and a number of my family members had Googled my name. They were finding out about me, and I thought that was very, very bizarre. But yeah, there's lots in there. It's but lots of eclipse photos, Christmas ones. You dressed up, no doubt.
Yes, there's a lot of fancy dress that goes on, especially at the class nights. So yes, yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Well, this is all about finding all about Mr. Paul Brooks' life off the stage. So you know him as a teacher and as a DJ, no doubt, as well. But we're going to find out a little bit more about Paul. But first of all, what we're going to do is find out what Paul Ceroc's story is. So, Paul, tell us your story.
Okay, so I would say it probably began about 20 years ago. And it started off with the fact that my brother, who is a twin, which is Glenn, he had work colleagues saying to him, "You need to go dancing." And he suddenly got into this bug of going to something that was called Ceroc. And well, as he was coming in from work, he was then going back out again. And 2 or 3 times a week, he was doing this dancing. And I was like, I'm not interested. Don't want to do that. I've seen Strictly. I don't want to do the sequins and all of that. I'm definitely not interested. So I was into my badminton and football and more of the sport, just doing loads of different sports. And it was about 6 months into that he managed to persuade me to go to my very first night, which was at Rochester in Kent. And Steve Thomas was teaching at the time. And I've turned up there. And it was more of I didn't know what to expect, but it was brilliant just to see everyone enjoying themselves. And it was just the fact that it was quite a casual kind of setup, and it wasn't very strict in that the worry of what I thought the whole sequin dancing would be like. And obviously it's nothing like that. And then from that moment, 20 years ago, I've then gone and helped a lady called Kristen Coursey, who was a teacher also for Kent, and landed up demoing for her down in Canterbury. And I would say it was her that kind of grounded me in terms of the whole Ceroc ethos and the process, and get me through those early days. And then doing that for about 4 years or so, and then landed up taking on the DJ reins for Ceroc Kent. And did that for a number of years. And then from that moment, it was my brother Glenn and Karen Toko. The 3 of us, we decided to get together and said, look, let's see if we can do something for somebody else. So we landed up going over to Ceroc, Surrey, for a franchise that was Annalisa at the time. And we went and did a class night on a Tuesday at Bourne Hall in Youghal. And we did that for about a year. We took numbers from about 25 to 30 coming along, and managed to turn that night into about 120 to 130 regular dancers. And that's probably going back to the fancy dress comment you made earlier, Richard. That's when we landed up doing lots of party nights and fun nights, and that seemed to just generate the extra boost of numbers. And it was a year later that we then decided we're going to do it for ourselves. And so we set up a franchise, the 3 of us, which is part of the Essex area. And so we started off with a venue at Romford, where Karen was teaching. My brother was demo there, and I was doing the DJing side. That then progressed on to about 2 or 3 years later, and then landed up opening up a second venue and a third venue, as you do. And that's when Basildon came into play. So Basildon was set up around about 14, 15 years ago. And because it was a brand new venue, up at that stage, Karen was teaching, Glenn was then starting to teach. And then it was like, come on, Paul, now it's your turn. So so that's when I started my reigns of teaching with Ceroc. And that was 14 years ago. And that was at the Basildon venue. But I just feel like it was new dancers, a new venue, me as a new teacher. And as I've progressed, I've kind of taken the journey with me. And some of those dancers have stayed with me that entire time as well. And that kind of now brings you right bang up to date as to my teaching story and history of getting into Ceroc.
So is that where you now teach, is it?
That's right.
Bill?
Yes, over at Basildon. Basildon on a Monday night.
Aww. And you've got people that are still there from day one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever seen any videos of yourself teaching early doors?
Oh my goodness. No, I haven't. But people won't know this, but you, Richard, was on my audition panel.
Was I? I remember it well, Paul. I do.
You were there, lined up, sat there. It was like going on to like Britain's Got Talent or X Factor with a line of judges. And I remember dancing. I had to dance to Nat King Cole, Let There Be Love.
Oh, nice.
Whoever chose that song. But yes,
wasn't me.
And for whatever reason, Richard, you and the gang decided to put me through.
Yeah, I remember you being incredibly infectious. Probably the best word for it.
That's great.
Yeah, no, literally, it was very interesting doing the audition panels because you got to see lots of different people, and as they came into the room, it was you analyze them from the moment they come in, and it's not just the teaching that they do. So yeah, it was brilliant. And,
absolutely.
I thought you did great.
The fitness class to start with. So this is like some focus. Oh my goodness, obviously people don't know what's involved with the actual audition side. But then we had this keep fit person come in, and well, it was like hand, body, eye coordination for about 5 minutes. But this level will go from easy to progressively hard, and by the end of it, you just felt like arms and legs were all over the place, and it was like survival of the fittest. But it was a fun thing to do. But it's great. It's great, and that's what makes Ceroc so good in terms of those teachers that then come through the other end, because of how grueling and how intense it is, and the 1 or 2 weeks of intense training that Tim now does. It's where we are today.
So you went through 14 years ago, is that right?
Yes.
So who would have been your teacher trainer then?
It was actually Kristen.
Okay.
By chance. So Kristen, who obviously I landed up demoing for, then by the time we had our own franchise, she landed up doing the teacher training. I forget who actually, I did that with her with 2 others. And that was a week's worth of almost like being in the Big Brother house, very intense. And it was like 4 walls and you don't see daylight. And by the end of it, in came the panel. And I think it was Alex that did the final, at the time. So he did the final exam and then put us through.
Ah, congrats. And we've loved every day since.
Absolutely.
Cool. So every Ceroc teacher is very, very different. And that is part of the beauty. We all have a certain standard we have to get to. But I certainly have a particular way of teaching. But what's your favorite style to teach then?
Yeah, see, now I wondered if you were going to say something like this, because I would say style-wise, I'm your standard Ceroc teacher in that it's the standard moves that we teach. But I would say that my style is just more of a having fun, very kind of just the enjoyment side. So I'm certainly a bubbly kind of teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I would put you as well. You are.
That's
I love coming into your classes because everyone's just having fun.
Where you, Richard? What would your style be?
My style would definitely be on the slower end of things. I think not necessarily just because I'm more mature now, but yeah, I prefer kind of lyrical dancing and quite technical, and yeah, that's kind of my bag, really. I like things to be done correctly, but at the same I think my principle is trying to get them dancing to the best of their technical ability whilst having the most amount of fun.
Yeah,
That's kind of
exactly.
that's where I sit, really.
That's great.
Yeah, it's all cool.
Uh,
So you've been on stage a while, no doubt. There's been the odd embarrassing moment. So what is
yeah,
your most embarrassing moment?
I would say that most of us has probably had an embarrassing moment.
Yeah,
But most of us has probably at some stage. I know that I've walked up on stage and literally just gone flat forward on my face. Have you ever done that?
I haven't done that. No,
Oh, I'm quite surprised. I would have
no.
thought quite a few people have done that. So yeah, I would say that was probably the most embarrassing. But like anything, the amount, I think my mouth works a lot quicker than my brain when it comes to teaching, and the amount of innuendos that comes out of my mouth, and it's like you just don't realize what you've said until everyone's giggling in the class. So I would say that's probably the other embarrassing side of trying to just dig yourself out of a hole that you've got yourself into, and it just kind of progressively gets worse to the point you just have to say, let's stop and move on.
Yeah, have you ever properly got the giggles?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
without a doubt.
And the
And
trouble is,
when you get that, and you've got your fits of laughter, and then everyone's doing it as well, it's brilliant. Have you?
oh, on too many occasions to mention, but the worst thing is because you're the only one on microphone, you can't just palm it off onto somebody else. So you get the giggles, and then like I often will turn away from the class and just do nothing and just try and compose myself and then go right back to the script then.
I generally, yeah, it is scripted, but I would generally, if I get that fits of laughter, I would definitely land up sharing it with people, providing I can share whatever it is that I'm laughing at.
No, it is difficult. So what do you think makes a great Ceroc teacher then? I don't know why I put a radio voice on then, but it was kind of,
Have you done radio before?
yes, many years ago.
Oh, have you? What
Yeah,
radio?
yeah. Oh, it's just hospital radio. I did it for about 3 years.
Excellent.
Richard's class act every Thursday night, 8 to 11. So yeah, this is back in the day though, when we had tape, records, and CDs.
Oh
And
my
I used to have to mix and match between because we only had one CD player, so I couldn't play 2 CDs in a row because it would like be too confusing. So I'd have tapes and records lined up. So I think the
wow.
weirdest one was
I
I did a
did radio
78
as well,
special.
Richard.
Go on,
I
go.
can relate to that, and it's like, yeah, records, mini discs,
Yeah.
CD, and I did a lot of radio production work when I was at college, and it was very much a reel to reel that I was splicing tape and sticking it together
Nice.
to create the package. But obviously, it's all now digitally done. But yeah, going back to your question, I would say what makes a good Ceroc teacher, someone that definitely engages with the class, with the dancers, that is having a lot of fun, and or just generally helping people going from one level to another. There's nothing more satisfying, and I'll probably speak on behalf of a lot of teachers, to suddenly see people coming into a venue thinking, I can't dance, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't do this, and yet years and years down the line you see them just enjoying themselves, absolute maybe going into competitions for those that want to take it that one step further, but just to see the progress people make, that's the best thing about being a Ceroc teacher. But having fun, all about having fun for me. It's never been about the work side. It's never been about that. It's meeting people for me on a weekly basis at different venues and just enjoying myself. It's that escapism from a hard day's worth of work, and it's just escaping from all of that and just meeting up with people.
So do you class teaching Ceroc as work then?
No, definitely not.
I heard a great phrase recently, and that was that if you actually start doing your passion as your job, you'll never do another day's work in your life, which I quite like that.
That's great. I love that saying. I'm very lucky with my full-time job where I do marketing and social media for a business support organization, and it's such a brilliant balance between a work-life balance. And they, from the word go, they already knew about Ceroc, and it's very much put aside. That's the night Paul has to go teaching or he's DJing, and it's great. So I enjoy both sides.
Oh, cool. It's you seem to love teaching, which is what it's all about, really.
Yeah.
I know a lot of teachers, they feel like they give an enormous amount, and I definitely, having spoken to a number of people in your classes, they feel like they get a lot from you.
Oh, that's great. How do you find, what do you think makes a good teacher?
Connection to the class, however that is done, is the main thing for me. So I'm not a big fan of teachers just talking at the class, because then they may be a great teacher in regards to what they're teaching and great dancer, but yeah, you need to have connection and know who your class are, and then do it appropriately. So I may teach differently in one venue than I would in another venue, because that particular class wants something completely different. So
That's a great answer, Richard. I think it's like to make everyone that's in your venue feel as though it's their venue,
yeah,
and that they're a part of that. That's the biggest thing. And it's like while I'm teaching, it might be that I'll be telling people a story, nothing to do with Ceroc, but just that personal story that I've got something to share with everybody, because, and then others kind of do that in return, and it's great that you then suddenly feel like you're connecting with one another, and it's not just about the dancing and just turning up. It's just getting to know each other a bit more.
Yeah, it's being you are the leader of the gang as such. When you're at your venue, you're the catalyst to everybody having a good night. I remember the worst night of teaching I ever did in my life was back in Swindon about 20 years ago, and I'd been really ill all day, just with a really bad cold. And I turned up and I went, you'll have to bear with me tonight, everyone. I feel really ill. And you know, I've never taught a flatter class in my entire life. Because everybody's like, oh, he's not very well, so we're just going to be like that. So yeah, it was good learning for me that no matter what happens during your day, you get up there. It's a bit like if you go and watch Robbie Williams in concert, or whoever your favorite artist is. You don't care if he's had a good or a bad day. You want to see him get up there and do his thing. And that's kind of the same as being a Ceroc teacher.
Yeah, that's something that people probably don't appreciate, that at some stage throughout the year we all come down with flu and not feeling up to it, but it's almost like a can't have that, it's the whole stage face, let's enjoy it. Exactly that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's easier than others, and hopefully most of the time we're in good moods and we're in our happy place when you go to a Ceroc venue, because the rest of the world doesn't exist for those 3 hours.
Yeah,
and you're just there and you're doing your thing, and it's an amazing thing, which I feel very privileged to do. I remember going to see a pantomime, and Brian Conley was on stage, and he was saying he genuinely feels privileged that people come along, pay their money, and watch him do his thing on stage. And I still feel that way regarding when I'm teaching dancing. Yes, I'm there as a teacher, but it's a privilege to be up on stage. So every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I love.
Absolutely.
So you've been a DJ. So what's your DJ story then, Paul?
Well, I would probably say that the DJ comes first before the teaching. I was 8 years old when I decided to set up my own mobile disco, and so it was like a little hi-fi unit, a little record player, a few disco lights. It literally had like 4 little bulbs, and then I would go out, and my parents would drop me off at the local village hall, and then I would go and do a little disco for friends and people, and then years went on, and that little disco turned into a huge disco setup, to the point that we landed up alongside Glenn. I roped him in as well, my twin brother, and we had one of the largest disco setups in Kent. Wow. And so that took me through kind of like the primary school and then secondary school kind of age. And then from that point, I left school and went and studied media and radio. And so that's where it all kind of comes into play in terms of presenting a radio show is very similar to presenting on stage for Ceroc. And when the music is playing in the background, I've kind of, just from an early age, I find it very natural to be able to talk up to the point where the person starts singing,
hitting
in
the
song.
lyrics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then counting in, and yeah, deep down, it's like Claire Jiggins, who's my demonstrator, I would have a little giggle with her when I'm all smug with the fact that I've managed to talk for 40 seconds up to a track and counting and get the class to start on time. But I would say that goes way back to when I was at college. But from that point, I worked for a number of radio stations, Invicta FM at the time, which is now Heart. So I was doing a lot of production work for them, and then local stations as well, and as well as doing the disco side. And I think that's when Ceroc came along. It was very much I love the dancing, but I now want to be a DJ for Ceroc. Because to do a DJ night for a wedding or a birthday party can be quite hard work just to get people on the dance floor. Where with Ceroc, as we know, you press play on a track and you've already got an audience that wants to dance. Yep. There's still a skill to that because you've still got to find the right music to play. And I would say that in the early days of Ceroc, when I was DJing, Eric Wilson was the DJ for London, and he was the one that I always looked up to. He was doing the Ceroc Champs at the time. His music was very varied, it was very upbeat, and I've always said to Eric that he was my competition. And but from the early stages of me DJing, I would, while I was dancing, go around the class and say to people, what is your favorite track? What is your favorite tune to dance to? And I would write that down. And I did that.
That's where you then have, even on DJing, a connection to the class. And that's Absolutely. Really important, rather than thinking that as a DJ, you know best. And now my philosophy is always, it's their night, not my night.
That's
if
it.
I can include their tracks in there and it fits in with what we were trying to do, then yeah, it's their night.
I would say certainly for the first few months, it was very much a playlist that I'd got from the dancers of that venue, knowing that that's what they like to dance to. And that was then built up over time, and also my experience in radio and also doing the discos and bringing in the extra tracks as well. And that is kind of like the starting point of my DJing career for Ceroc. And as time's gone on, I've obviously got involved with the Escape Weekenders, now the Ceroc Cruise, and then when Eric handed in his headphones, as you say, a few years back with the Ceroc Champs, I was kindly asked to take over as doing the competition music for the Ceroc Champs. And that's probably one of my highlights, just to be able to start from a normal DJ, going through it, trying to please everybody the best I can with a variety of music, and then to be asked to DJ at the London Ceroc Champs is one of my highlights. So without a doubt, but without the likes of Eric and Gary Turner, the late Gary Turner, who was very encouraging, that's where I am today.
Yeah, and doing competition tracks is incredibly difficult.
The amount of
getting
months,
it right.
The amount of months that go into play, and some people think it might be a little couple of weeks beforehand to turn up, play the music, but the amount of conversations I would have for the London Champs, Tim Santana is so involved with that playlist. Alongside me, I would start the bases off. There's something like 120 competition tracks that we use throughout the day, and I would set out the main playlist, send it over to Tim. He would then look at it from his point of view, add his comments in, and we'd be swapping and changing. And that would happen about 2 months before the competition itself. And then on the day, there's the playlist all sorted. That's the easy part, pressing play on the day, because the hard work's already done. But yeah, it's great to be able to put in all of that work, seeing everyone enjoying themselves, seeing the reaction of pressing play to a particular track and people going, oh, wow, I love this track. Or on other occasions, oh my days, I hate this one. Why the hell are we dancing to it? It happens, but it's great. It's great to see that response.
It does. And as a competition dancer, no matter what's played, you've got to do the best of your ability. So, you may like a track, but somebody else might not like it, but it doesn't make it a bad track. It just means that person doesn't like it.
I'd say if you speak to any DJ to try and please everybody on the dance floor,
Okay.
it's not possible. But providing everyone plays a nice variety and a good mixture, then you're on safer grounds.
Yeah, so 25 Latin tracks in a row may not be the best policy.
Not quite.
Likewise with 25 grunge tracks, again, you may clear the dance floor. So yeah, absolutely getting the variety in there.
Yeah.
Is always quite key. So you've mentioned Glenn a couple of times. He is your bro. Okay, so what's the rest of your family setup then?
Yeah, so it's just me and my twin brother. When we were born, my mum didn't even know she was having twins.
Nice.
And so there, my mum and dad were at the hospital. First, my brother popped out into the world, and then it was like, what's going on? Something else isn't quite right. Unbeknown to them, I was also inside that stomach, and so out I popped as well as a surprise. So they never knew. Yeah, I'm here, everyone. I've arrived. But yeah, we've got a brilliant connection, me and my brother. Being twins, maybe that might be part of it. But yeah, we've get on like a house on fire. Absolutely brilliant.
Back in the day, it did take me a while I couldn't really tell you apart. And now you have grown into your features slightly differently. So it's not difficult to tell you apart.
Yeah,
anymore.
I've certainly got shorter hair.
You've got shorter hair. Yes.
Yeah.
And an ever so slightly rounder face, I think, as well, compared to Glenn, who's slightly slimmer in the face.
Exactly
so,
that, yes.
That doesn't mean he's slimmer, he's just slimmer in the face. So.
I know what you say. It's all right. I'm training for the marathon at the moment, Richard, so I'm doing all right.
You're looking good. Yeah, I would train for the marathon in regards to going to get a Snickers bar, as it's called now. That's about as close as I'd get to a marathon. So yeah. So you and your bro, and yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Just the two of us. So yeah, but my parents, they are very sporty, and I think before even Ceroc came along, we were introduced to so many different sports, and so this is almost where anyone that goes on my Facebook will see that I just don't sit still. But that would have been definitely inherited from my mum and dad, in that they've been very busy people. But it's whether it be playing rounders when we were kids, or playing a lot of football. Both me and Glenn, we had a spell of playing roller hockey for about 4 years. We were very much into our roller skating, and so we were skate marshals at our local roller disco when they used to be on.
I always looked up to those people. I've been roller skating 2 or 3 times, and I genuinely am an embarrassment regarding roller skating or ice skating.
I thought I was the bee's knees. There I was with the yellow high vis jacket, the whistle.
No doubt going backwards as well.
Oh yeah, we went backwards and all of that. We also did something called the wheelbarrow.
Okay.
Where it's where people would sit on top of each other.
Oh yeah.
And you would then skate along. But yeah, that would be our little kind of like showpiece at the local roller disco. But yeah, so we did a lot of roller skating and roller hockey. And then I landed up going into my local badminton club. So I played a lot of badminton. And that's probably where I was at when my brother started Ceroc. So while he was doing the whole dancing and going to pubs and doing his pub quizzes, I was very much still going to playing my sport and doing my badminton.
Oh,
you play badminton, don't you, Richard?
Yeah, I used to play for the RAF many moons ago, but I had a really bad shoulder injury. So I had to stop playing properly at the age of 23.
Oh wow! Did you play competition level?
Yeah. No, I used to do jump smashes, the lot. I used to be able to do, and I do remember being absolutely hammered by the RAF number 1 playing singles, and I've never moved from the front to the back of the court so many times in one game. It was beyond exhausting.
It's funny, isn't it, when you think you've got to a level within your own club, and you're having everyone else run around the court, and then you play somebody else that knows a bit better or knows more than you. Suddenly you're that runner, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No matter, because you're always in the wrong position. And but yeah, we'll have a game at some point. So,
yes,
I used to get to the point where I'd do a smash, my shoulder would literally just completely collapse, and my arm would drop down by my side, and I'd then have to pick up my arm to start playing again.
Oh wow!
So when it got to that point, and I'd gone through a variety of different operations, and it was decided it was best to hang up the old racket, but I still play on the odd occasion. But yeah, when you don't play very regularly, you then don't become as good as you used to be, and that becomes frustrating.
Absolutely. It's when you think, I would have been able to have got to that a few years ago.
Yeah, getting to that backhand smash. I
Yeah.
play a bit more tennis these days, and whenever I'm at the net, they're going, "You're really good at the net." I'm like, "I'm just playing badminton, really."
Yes.
Just badminton with a tennis racket.
Just a different ball.
Yeah, and a slightly heavier ball, but yeah. So you mentioned again, you have another job, so you're not a full-time Ceroc teacher. So what is your job then, Paul?
So I work for it's called the Chamber of Commerce, and it's it's a business support organisation. So where we've been in this whole pandemic, and the government has been pushing out loads of news and information and grants and funding, that's kind of like, in a very short summary, what the company does. We put that news out to local businesses to be on hand to support businesses, to help them grow. And my specific job, or my background for about 20 years, was doing events, so corporate events. And so it will be, we've got one locally, which is almost the equivalent of what you'd get at Excel up in London. So a few thousand delegates, about 400 to 500 exhibitors, and I would be part of a team that would put those kind of events on. But having had that kind of experience for 20 years, there was an area in terms of the marketing side that needed filling, and that's where I kind of progressively have gone. So so now I do the marketing for the company, and then suddenly this whole world of something called social media popped into play a few years ago.
What's that?
So now I do the marketing and the whole mix, and that also includes social media. But when I look at what I've done in the past, when I look at my radio and the presenting skills that I've built up, my very first job was working in a local newsagent's as a paper boy, but also working in the shop, so that it was dealing with customers and chat to customers. And then when I look at now running events and then doing the marketing side, all of those skills is what's gone into helping me and my brother run the franchise locally. And it's having that skill set that's certainly helped us get to where we are now.
Oh, it sounds good. I'd say it's often all the experience you've got before that help you in current day, isn't it? So yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah.
So what's the most daring thing you've ever done outside of Ceroc then, or even in Ceroc?
Oh, I would say outside of Ceroc. Yeah, I do a lot of things outside of Ceroc, but there is a place in Wales, and it's called Zip World. Have you heard of it, Richard?
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
No, I keep meaning to go there. I just haven't got there yet.
Oh, it is one of the most exhilarating places to go to. If you're an adrenaline junkie, it's definitely a must place. So Zip World is loads of almost like your Go 8 kind of courses, but there was also a cave where we would do rock climbing in a cave. They've got trampolines built in an underground cave, but one specific area is something called Velocity. And Velocity is at the top of a huge hill. Well, I can't even call it a hill, a mini mountain, and it goes across a huge reservoir. But it's at the time when I went, and it might still be, the longest and fastest zip line in the UK. And basically you're strapped in a body bag, just in case, strapped in a body bag, laying flat, and you're connected to the zip wire, and then they let you go, and you're literally head first going down this mountain.
Did you scream?
Absolutely, I screamed. Absolutely, but yeah, it was great fun to do. Yeah. What would be yours?
Do you know, I did something similar. We went to Mexico and went to a place called, I think it was Z or something like that. And that had loads and loads of zip wires. You ended up doing zip wires through a waterfall at one point, which was quite amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, and that had 4x4 buggies. It was a really expensive day, but it was an amazing day of my life. Yeah, what's the most daring thing I've ever done? Yeah, probably that type of thing.
Excellent.
And yeah, I think possibly actually on one of the very first dance holidays in Granada in Spain, this may not sound that daring, but for me it was quite a lot. I'm not a big fan of heights. And we went canyoning. So you're in between the canyon and you're walking through the river that goes down it. And we got to one particular pool and they said, if you want to, you can go up onto that ledge and jump into the pool. And, you know, the ledge was, I think, 20 foot up above. But then, of course, you're another 6 foot-ish.
Absolutely.
Mine's a few little inches. So you're actually like 25 foot up in the air.
Yes.
And you're looking down, you're going, you know, cross the arms over and and
did you do it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I did it. And I properly papped my pants. But yeah, it was. I still remember it really clearly now. So no, it's fabulous. It was fabulous.
Great.
Cool. Right, we're on to music now.
Okay,
so there's 3 questions that you've got here. Okay, the first of those questions, I'm going to edit in afterwards the music just to let you know. Okay, but the first of those questions is, what is your favorite track to dance to?
Now,
hard question, I know, because it changes for me.
Yes, it does. And the trouble is, because I've been brought up with such a wide spectrum of tunes that I would play at discos and different genres, this is so difficult. But can I just rephrase the question slightly in that I feel the most popular tune that people probably would associate with me playing and dancing to would probably be the Bongo Song by Safra Duo. At the time when I first started dancing, that was the tune that Eric Wilson played at the Ceroc Champs. And it was one of those, it was a, wow, what is that tune? And it was the in tune. And that's probably stuck with me because of the history behind it. And when people say, oh, it's Paul, no doubt he'll play the Bongo Song. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't anymore, but that will probably be the most popular.
Let's see if we can actually have a quick listen to it. I'll try and play it for you.
Okie dokes. It's a classic, Richard, shall we say. There we go.
There we go, just like that. Can't play it too long for copyright reasons. Yeah. So that's your dancing track. What about a track to listen to then?
To listen to, I would probably say most recently, the Daddy Was a Milkman.
What a great name for band, by the way.
Breathe In. I know. Who came up with that? Daddy Was a Milkman.
Can you imagine the scenario? So we're sat here. What should we call our band? I know. My daddy was a milkman. Let's call it that.
Absolutely. But it's such a brilliant lyrical track and a nice, easy listening tune to sort of like get into, whether you're dancing to it or listening to it. But I know that particular tune seemed to get played by Gary Turner at the time, and then Tim introduced it a few years back as one of the final tracks at the Ceroc Champs, and it was probably the tune that from the whole day I had people coming up to me saying, what is the name of it, who is it? And now it's become one of those classics at Ceroc. But yeah, very, very good, a nice, easy listen to.
Let's have a quick listen. Fast forward the touch.
See, I would say this is the kind of tune that you would like to dance to, Richard.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It's 108 beats per minute. It's there or thereabouts. So, it's a lovely track to dance to. It really is. Excellent. And what's been the most important track to you in your life and why?
The most important, I'd probably go with, see, it changes all the time, but I would probably go with Pharrell Williams and Happy.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily, you can't dance to it because it's way, way too fast. But I would probably say it sums me up as a person and an individual, as in very upbeat, very happy, and love life.
Let's have a listen.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.
Doesn't it make you just smile?
It's great. Love it.
But just don't dance to it. Just don't
160 beats per minute, though. I'd have a heart attack at the end of that.
Absolutely.
I'm not a young man anymore, so. So if you had a choice, final question on music. If you had a choice, 100 beats per minute, 120 beats per minute, 140 beats per minute because 160 is too quick.
Yeah.
Which would you choose?
I find that's easy question for me. 140 beats per minute. If I was at a dance weekender, I'd always be in the main room. And that's probably, in terms of where I position myself on the DJ side, it's always been as a main room DJ. Yes, I very much got into Silk and the slower tunes, but for my teaching style and my ability and what I enjoy the most, it will be 140 beats per minute up in that main room on those weekenders.
Fair enough. I believe 128 beats per minute is the perfect beats per minute to get the heart rate going and to connect with a person. So
absolutely, that is definitely your average Ceroc beat, I would say.
yeah, it is. Not around here, but so
No.
a little bit slow around here, but there we go. Slightly different. Fabulous. Right, we're on to the final part now. So this is quick fire questions for you, okay? Everyone's going to get these questions.
I'm ready.
These are completely random questions, and we'll finish off with these, okay? So, your favorite ice cream?
Caramel Choo Choo, Ben and Jerry's.
Very good. Are you clean or messy?
Oh, clean. I'm a Virgo. But they say Virgos are clean and tidy and organised, I believe.
I think I know the answer to this one. Love or hate roller coasters?
Oh, absolutely love roller coasters. Thorpe Park, Chessington, bring it on.
I'm off to Thorpe Park this weekend with the big kids.
Excellent.
I can't wait. What's the phone app you use the most?
Facebook.
Apart from Facebook.
Oh my days.
That's social media.
WhatsApp.
What? That's still social. Any?
Okay. No, yeah, I've got one, and it's a game.
Go on.
And it's because my niece Emily, who at the moment is 10 years old, she's got me into a game called Among Us.
Okay.
Have you ever played it?
No.
Oh, you just go around killing people.
Okay. Good. I'm glad your 10-year-old niece is playing that game. That sounds very suitable.
I'm just joining in with them.
So you're going around killing her, are you? Or
absolutely.
Yeah. Why not? Coffee or tea or anything else?
Oh, tea. I used to be a very heavy fizzy drinker. But that, as you know, Richard, from when we went and did the Ceroc cruise, 2 years ago, went out the window. So it's now cups of tea and squashes.
Cups of tea and squashes. Favorite TV program?
I don't really watch TV because I'm always out. Can I go with a favorite film series?
Yeah.
And that would have been 24.
Okay.
As in Keith Sutherland, Jack Bauer.
Yeah, no, very good choice.
Love that.
And last question then. If you came back in your next life as an animal, which one would you be and why?
Monkey, because they're mischievous.
Very good. We had one rip the aerial off Zoe's car recently at Longleat. So yeah, literally looked in the rearview mirror.
Aren't they? That is
away.
Excellent. I just think they're brilliant.
They are brilliant.
They're great. They're just running around and it's like, yeah, just enjoying life.
Well, Paul, you are much loved as a Ceroc teacher and as a person, I'd like to say as well. You're one of my favourite people.
Thanks, Richard. Now, Richard, I know that you've asked me all these questions.
Oh, go on.
I think, just for this last minute, people should know you a little bit more.
Should they?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad
I didn't know you were going to do a quick fire round, so guess what?
Oh, God,
I've got you quick fire questions, so are you ready, Richard?
This is very much unprepared.
Absolutely. Are you ready?
Shoot away.
Texting or talking?
Texting.
Favourite day of the week?
Oh, Friday. Play football and then have a few drinks. Always relaxing.
Excellent. Favourite pizza topping?
Oh, just one?
Yes. Or a couple? I'll be lenient.
Couple. Quite like the combination of balsamic onions and goat's cheese.
Wow. That's like sounds like market to me.
I think you can get it in the Tesco Finest range.
Favourite Disney character?
Favourite Disney character? Mulan.
Excellent.
Mulan. Sorry, Moana. Sorry, very simple.
Oh yeah, good choice.
Moana,
okay.
Great.
Favourite junk food?
Favourite junk food? Definitely fish and chip shop chips.
Cake or donut?
Oh, I don't really do sweet stuff very often, but if I had to choose, donut.
Okay. Favourite number?
Favourite number? Good question again. 5.
Number 5. Mine would be 7.
But I'm not asking
one. You're not asking me the questions.
No,
giving presents or getting presents?
Giving presents.
Okay, 2 more to go. Favourite breakfast cereal?
Kind of variations of Crunchy Nut. Lots of
Lovely.
different types of them. Granola ones.
This is all very healthy. Have you noticed my questions all mainly evolve around food?
Food, yeah. I have noticed
Finally,
that.
do you watch Harry Potter?
Yeah, well, I did.
What's your favourite character?
Favorite character in Harry Potter? Hagrid.
There we go.
Yeah.
10 quick fire questions about Richard on your first podcast.
You are so kind, Paul, to throw that at me. And yeah, it was very kind of you to do that prep. I appreciate that but it's great.
No worries.
But no, you've been brilliant, Paul. And I hope everybody's learned a little bit more about the man that is Paul Brooks. And yeah, so fantastic. So thank you very much, Paul.
Lovely.
And,
Thank you so much for having me.
No, that's okay. And we'll see you again soon.
Lovely. Thank you.